I'll be honest, I'm pretty pissed off. Hey guys, hope everyone is having a great week. Looking forward to the weekend, and not just any weekend, but Super Bowl weekend. Last game of the 2024 season. Can you believe it? It simultaneously feels like just the other day, yet also a lifetime ago, when all my hopes and dreams were beaten the hell out of me after the Browns got blown out by the Cowboys in week 1. But speaking about the Super Bowl, Myles Garrett took a media tour around Radio Row on Wednesday to further his public desire to leave the Cleveland Browns. I'm sure most of you have seen the clips, YouTube videos and posts from it. He did the Rich Eisen show, an interview with Mina Kimes, a Sports Illustrated interview, as well as quite a few other things as well. I'm not going to waste your time and make you sit through something you've probably already watched or tell you word for word what he said. But essentially, the gist of what he was getting at was that he spoke with the front office. He doesn't believe that his desire to win now aligns with where the team is going in the near future, which does make you wonder, whether they just straight up told him that they're rebuilding and won't be competitive next year, or whether they tried to sell him a plan, to return to contention next year, and he flat out just doesn't believe it. He also said that he spoke to LeBron about his transition when leaving Cleveland, which, of course, has led to a lot of fans, starting to blame LeBron for this whole thing. I get it. But we can't seriously blame LeBron for this mess, as much as it would be easy to do so. But that's kind of where I want to go with this video today, because as expected, this has already become a mess, and I want to kind of talk about where I'm at with it. Now, I want to first preference that I'm not blaming one side or the other in this situation. The team haven't handled this great at all, and are clearly to blame for Myles demanding a trade in the first place, making him feel like they, can't surround him with a winning team. But Myles' media tour on Wednesday was distasteful at best and straight up disrespectful at worst. That's my favourite player that I'm talking about. You can go and watch my initial reaction to the trade request if you want to see how much it hurt me. I'm still angry at the team that we've got here. But that doesn't change the fact that, Myles has conducted himself in a way that, in my opinion, is disrespectful to the organisation, his teammates and the fan base. Say what you want about the front office and ownership. I'd probably agree with you on most of those things that you would say. But they have done a lot for Myles. I think that's undeniable. We can talk all day about how they haven't put a consistent playoff team around him. But the idea that they haven't tried everything they can to accommodate Myles is silly, in my opinion. They paid him a lot of money. They've consistently tried to help him by pairing him with, other defensive linemen, other impactful pass rushers in Zadarius Smith, Jadeveon Clowney, hell, even Olivia Vernon. They've had his back in his worst moments as well. They defended and never once wavered in their support for him after the Mason Rudolph helmet incident. They even defended him when he decided to be a complete and utter idiot and crash his car after unnecessarily speeding. Of course, at the time, we were just happy that him and his girlfriend were safe and without serious injury. But there's no justification for speeding. You literally broke the law, and the team defended you. And not only, did they defend you in these moments we defended you as well. We stuck by you. Damn, we went to war with the Steelers fans for you. Not that we needed much encouragement to do such a thing, but still. I just think the way he has conducted himself, on Wednesday at Radio Row, was distasteful to us fans who have shown him nothing but support since he was drafted here in 2017. And in regards to his teammates, I'm not sure how I would feel about, the best player on the team that I play for essentially telling me that we aren't good enough. But that aside, again, how he acted just isn't a respectful way of doing it, in my opinion. Regardless of, whether you want out or not, you're still a leader in that locker room. You were a leader in that locker room, and your voice holds weight, especially to those young guys. So, just not a great look from Myles, in my opinion. I'll be honest, the more that I saw from his media tour, the more it kind of pissed me off. Now let me preference again that I'm not blaming Myles for this situation. I'm not blaming either side, really. I don't even blame any fans for picking a side, if that's what it comes to. But, we've got to call a spade for a spade here. And Myles is telling everybody, with a microphone, that he doesn't believe in his team, while simultaneously trying to take the high road on this. I don't think there's a high road to take. Like, you're the franchise player and you want out of the franchise. You can't talk about how much you respect the higher ups whilst publicly declaring that you don't believe in them. I just don't really understand what Myles is trying to do here. Going back to the LeBron thing, it kind of feels like he thought he could just leave like LeBron did in 2018 and, have that same grace. Myles, I love you, but, LeBron took his team to 4 straight finals, 5 in total, and won a championship for Cleveland, the first in, what felt like a million years. You're not going to be able to just demand a trade and expect the team, the city, and the fan base to just be like, yeah, no worries, mate. That's where this is frustrating for me. Not only did I find this whole thing distasteful, but it feels as if Myles is just being naive almost to the situation. He's talking as if this is a normal thing. This is a franchise-altering move. Don't get me wrong, the team also haven't handled this great at all. They've obviously known about this, yet still publicly talked about being confident in extending him. That's just silly. How can you possibly be confident in extending a player that is demanding a trade? But as far as their position, I completely understand why they've taken it. They've rejected his request because at the end of the day, he's the best defensive player in the NFL. They have up to 4 years of control over him. And, the cost of trading him would actually financially set them back. They have no incentive to do so. So I understand why they're doing what they're doing. They're not going to just say, okay, sorry fans, but Myles wants out, so I guess we better trade him then. That's just ridiculous to think that. And of course, they're going to try and do everything they can to keep him. So, I can't get mad at the team for standing firm on this. I can get angry at them for how we got to this, but, not for how they've responded to it. Whereas I just feel like with Myles, probably influenced by how the Browns have held firm on not trading him, just hasn't handled this in the respectable way that, he's trying to make it out that he is. You can't have it both ways. You can't talk about how you're trying to do right by the organisation when you're trying to leave and telling everybody you don't believe in them. You can't expect the fan base to just wave you off into the sunset when you're actively seeking a trade away from their team. for the last time, let me just make it clear that I'm not blaming Myles for this situation. I understand why he's frustrated, and I think the team deserves as much blame, if not more. But I still think Myles' media tour of Radio Row was distasteful at best and disrespectful at worst. I'd love to hear from you guys what you think. Maybe I'm being, a bit harsh on Myles here, but I do think his actions could, rub a lot of the fan base the wrong way. Just a messy situation that, will only be made messier if Myles continues to go about it this way. I don't know what a resolution would even look like at this point, but, hopefully this is the last video that I do on this for at least a week, because, I have so much other Browns content planned that I would much rather talk about. Finally, Denzel Ward, in light of the Myles Garrett news, has also come out and questioned his desire to play for the team if Myles was to be traded. A far cry from David Njoku's comments about how, Myles should stay and that the team isn't that far away from contention. So remind me, which one is the hometown kid again? I'm joking, kind of, but shout out to David Njoku, man. I mentioned in the initial reaction video I did to the Myles trade news that they'd been through this before with David Njoku, someone that had publicly requested a trade, and they were able to work through that. And since then, all David has done is champion the city, champion the team. And, it's no surprise that he continues to do so with his latest comments on the Myles situation. Shout out to David Njoku, man. This is a David Njoku appreciation. We love you, David. But back to Denzel. It's, of course, disappointing to see, but, I would be two-faced if I sat here and blasted a player for wanting to win. That's never going to be what the issue is here for me. I'm never going to criticize those intentions. It's just, for me, how they go about it. And, of course, Ward's comments are unwelcomed right now. But they do obviously show the reality of where the Browns are. Going to be a lot of important decisions for the team over the next couple of months. I do think it's actually a lot easier to move Ward if that is something they would want to do. And I do think they could get a first-round pick off a contender for him. But let's see where it gets to. I'll always be in favour of keeping my best players. But this off-season, could see a lot of roster turnaround regardless. So that's where I'm at, guys. I'm, of course, angry at the team for letting it get to this. But, as I've said, I do also find Myles' current strategy of the way he's trying to force his way out to be distasteful. Just a shit situation all around, and hopefully one that will come to some form of a resolution soon. Whether that's trading him or not, because nothing good will come out of just letting this drag out and just get more and more awkward and messy by the week. I do still think that their best option is to try and salvage this situation. Having Myles Garrett on your team is better than not having Myles Garrett on your team. It's as simple as that. And of course, as mentioned, the financial implications would hinder the team more in the short term than it would be if they actually just extended him this offseason instead. Wishful thinking, but who knows? I just hope all parties involved conduct themselves better moving forward, because I'll be honest, so far this whole situation has pissed me off. But that would do it for me today, guys. As I said, hopefully I don't have to talk about this again for at least a week or so, because I've got two amazing guests joining me this weekend to do some stuff for the channel. So really looking forward to bringing you that all that content over the weekend as well into next week as well. NFL draft stuff, Senior Bowl, Browns salary cap, moving on from Watson's contract, loads more great stuff to talk about as we, try and look past the Myles news and into free agency, into the draft and, of course, into next season as well. If you do enjoy my content, guys, then please drop this video a like, hit the subscribe button. It's free, but it really, really helps out my channel. You can also check the links in the description to see where you can connect and interact with me on social media. I'm trying to build a community of Cleveland Browns fans, and as I always say, even if I only get to talk to one Browns fan a day, I'm happy because I'm talking Browns football with the best fan base in the world. Thanks again for watching, guys. Have an amazing end to the week. Enjoy the Super Bowl as much as you can. I know we'll all be watching it, wishing and hoping that the Browns will be there in our lifetime. I'm sure we will. But most importantly, guys, go Browns.